Hi, I am Dr. Soumyan. I am an MCH in Urology. I am practicing Uro-Oncology in the region of Navi Mumbai, Thane and Mumbai. I am attached as a consultant urologist to the Reliance Hospital in Navi Mumbai. Today I had come forward to you to discuss about a procedure known as cystectomy. So we will discuss about what is a radical cystectomy or what is a cystectomy, when it is done, what are the usual reasons for it is done, what a patient has to expect during or after the treatment. To start with, cystectomy is a procedure in which the bladder is removed. It may be a radical cystectomy or a partial cystectomy. Most of the time cystectomies are radical cystectomies which are done for two important reasons. One is a urothelial carcinoma of the bladder, another is a squamous cell carcinoma of the bladder, and rarely sarcomas of the bladder. The second thing is a partial cystectomy, which is indicated only for a disease known as adenocarcinoma of the bladder. Of all the bladder cancer, adenocarcinoma is very rare. So usually when we speak of cystectomy today, we will be speaking about radical cystectomy, that is a complete removal of bladder, and not partial cystectomy, which is a partial removal of the bladder done for adenocarcinoma of bladder. Now the same question is, when do a patient need a radical cystectomy? So when you have been asked to get a radical cystectomy done, your doctor would have detected or diagnosed bladder cancer which is invasive. So first indication is invasive bladder cancer, meaning thereby the cancer has invaded to the muscular layer of the bladder, or it has gone, or number two, it is a advanced bladder cancer, means the cancer has gone to the lymph nodes, that is outside the bladder into the lymph nodes. Now the third indication is high grade bladder cancer with multiple recurrences, and the fourth common indication is carcinoma in situ, in which there is a multiple, although the tumor is non-invasive, there is carcinoma in situ, there is a high risk for bladder cancer developing in different parts of the bladder. So this is another class of patient in which we offer early cystectomy. But the most common indication of radical cystectomy remains the first one, that is invasive bladder cancer, that is cancer going to the muscular layer of the bladder. The bladder has four layers: the mucosa, the lamina propria. The mucosa is the first layer, then the lamina propria, then the muscular, and the serosa. So it is like the 1, 2 and the third and the fourth layer. So this is the mucosa and submucosa, this is the lamina propria, this is the muscular and the serosa. So once it goes to the lamina propria, which is basically a submucosa of the bladder, it doesn't require a radical cystectomy most of the time, but when it gets to the third layer, is the muscular layer, radical cystectomy or removal of the bladder is required, because once the bladder tumor reaches the muscle, it has a propensity of spread. Till the time it has not invaded the muscle, the spread is to other organs, to distant organ, is unlikely. So how was it detected? It was detected with a TUR cystoscopy and TURBT, in which the specimen was sent for histopathology. A PET scan or a CT scan would have been done before the surgery, before the surgeon has advised you a radical cystectomy. So how long before the surgery the proper medical checkup is done about a cardiac status, about a lung status. You will be advised breathing exercises to increase the capacity of your lung to prevent infections. Your thrombosis, potential for thrombosis after the surgery will be judged. Those things will be done to see you are medically fit for surgery. Cardiac status will be evaluated before asking you to come for a surgery. So when you, how many days, next question will be that how many days do I expect for an admission, and what is the method by which the cystectomy will be done. So after admission, you will be you're supposed to stay in the hospital for around 7 days, both for open radical cystectomy, laparoscopic radical cystectomy, or a robotic radical cystectomy. Usual stay is 5 to 7 days. I usually practice either a open radical cystectomy for bladder tumors, or for some patients robotic cystectomies if they want it. Now second is how the patient comes to the hospital, what preparation he requires. Usually patients are asked to have a liquid diet for 2 days before the surgery. I usually admit my patient on the morning of the surgery. Before that, the day before, all the tests has been done, his anesthesia fitness has been taken, his physician fitness has been taken on OPD basis, so that the patient spends less time in the hospital, he is more comfortable, more at home. So in the morning of the surgery, once admitted, when all these evaluations has been done, the patient is put on a diet which is liquid. For he can take water for up to 3 hours before the surgery. Solid food we have already, or other food we have stopped solid food abstract long before. We are giving two liquid diet only a day before the surgery, till the day before the surgery, 12 o'clock midnight. Morning we don't give any more diet, only water till 3 hours before the surgery. Today we give only enema to clear the bowel. I don't give extensive bowel preparation in the form of a peg leg, which used to be given before prior. A liquid diet, a strict liquid diet 2 days before the surgery helps return the intestinal strength also better, intestine functions better, something we call peristalsis in medical term. So it is only a 2 days of liquid diet, a cremafin syrup a day before, a night before the surgery, around 30 ml is what I use. In the morning I give enema. So this is the usual way I prepare the intestines for the replacement of the bladder after the bladder removal. So in the morning usually don't use anticoagulant like low molecular weight heparin in our setup. What we usually do is we use intermittent compressive stockings on the morning of surgery. Once he goes to the OT, this intermittent compression of the luval limb takes to take care of the deep venous thrombosis. Antibiotic injections are given, fluids are started. Patient usually requires a central line to monitor. We don't put in arterial line, and then we take the patient up for surgery, in which first we finish off the cystectomy part, either it is laparoscopically or open or robotically, whatever. Then the lymph nodes are removed. Once that is done, we divert the urine for a conduit or a neobladder. Now the question about which method is better. So as of now there is nothing in literature to say that robotic cystectomy is better than open cystectomy. For me it is usually patient's preference. Unlike a disease like prostate cancer, where robotic prostatectomy is very good compared to open prostatectomy in terms of patient's comfort. Here I don't feel there is much of difference, because the patient ultimately stays in the hospital for 7 days. Today, once I do all my cystectomies extraperitoneally, means there is a small incision below the umbilicus, around 7 to 8 centimeter, which removes the tumor, which does the lymph node dissection, which removes the specimen. I would have used the same small incision to remove the specimen after a robotic cystectomy also. So there is still a controversy about which is better. I feel morbidity wise there is not much of difference, because after an open cystectomy also my patient goes home usually on the 5th or 6th day with the conduit. The patient are usually given liquid diet at the time of discharge, and with that at home he starts a normal diet after. Now what to expect after radical cystectomy about urine drainage? The most important thing is either the surgeon will create a neobladder or a new bladder to take the function of the bladder through the intestine, or will usually construct a ileal conduit. So the ureters, after being disconnected from the bladder, the bladder is removed. So now the kidney draining the urine to the ureter is inserted into a small segment of intestine, small intestine, which has been detached from the normal intestinal length, and one end of that intestine is connected to the two ureter, the other end of the intestine comes out to the abdomen, from where the urine is collected into the bag. This is a ileal conduit. Which is better, like a neobladder is better or ileal conduit is better? I usually offer my young patients a neobladder, but I also tell them that they will be requiring self-catheterization by themselves. There are more chance of short-term and long-term complication compared to ileal conduit, like there may be stones in neobladder, the bladder has to be cleaned with saline regularly, more extensive follow-up is there, and there is a problem with continence many a time, because the bladder now at night, some nighttime incontinence is always there, and the patient has to be very rigorous with self-catheterization. Patient has to catheterize thoroughly many a time to drain the bladder. Usually in the immediate period it is very essential. Long term the frequency of self-catheterization may decrease once the patient learns to use the abdominal muscle to empty the bladder. This is the one part. Now for the ileal conduit part, there is not much of this is usually a simple surgery, in which we will discuss in one more video about the radical cystectomy, this procedure part, about the ileal conduit, and about the neobladder procedure part. This is just a summary of these things which I have told you. And last but not the least, patients are concerned about the prognosis, the survival. So after doing the biopsy, or after doing getting the final histopathology report, which you call medically, of the tumor sent, depending on the stage of the tumor distant spread was not there that we have done before. We have known metastatic spread of the disease before the surgery by doing the scans. Now, after it is what we know, what is the depth of involvement in the bladder, more better. So, there is what we call T1, T2, T3 and T4 tumors, and other is nodal, the status of the lymph nodes. So, in a basic brief, the survival of a T1 tumor after radical cystectomy will be say 90%. For T2 tumor it will be say 80%, for T3 to reduce to around 50%, and for T4 tumors may reduce to 25%. For a lymph node disease again the survival reduces to 25%. This is 5-year survival. Means when I say 90% 5-year survival for a T1 tumor, it means 90 of 100 patients will survive 5 years without having a cancer related mortality. Cancer mortality without cancer, other causes may be different, but without a cancer free mortality of say just 10 out of 100 will die of cancer after 5 years. So, this is a very good prognostic disease. So, after the surgery again this further treatment is required or not, usually chemotherapy is required after the surgery. Before the surgery chemotherapy is required or not, yes, again we require chemotherapy before the surgery also. So, for an invasive tumor, when you are doing a tumor invasive, muscle invasive, and I am not speaking of CIS or a high grade tumor requiring cystectomy, is other thing, but for a muscle invasive tumor we give neoadjuvant chemotherapy before the surgery, then you do the surgery and then we do give adjuvant chemotherapy. The neoadjuvant means chemotherapy given before the surgery, chemotherapy given after the surgery is known as adjuvant chemotherapy. So, when you give chemotherapy then surgery then chemotherapy, this gives the best prognosis for a patient with muscle invasive bladder cancer and with good results. So, just detection with a bladder cancer, it is not a life sentence. Most of the patients will do good, very good after a proper surgery and chemotherapy for bladder tumor. So, another question is that what will be his lifestyle after the surgery. So, if the patient is on an ILL conduit, the patient after say around 6 weeks becomes very normal. You believe me, most of the patients, I have many patients who with a conduit even goes for swimming. So, it's very easy for them to change, their life doesn't change much. So, they become used to it, for them it becomes normal. So, initial fear that the bag will be there, believe me, after the surgery has been done, after say month or two the patient feels so normal. But for when a neobladder is done, for them anyway their normal voiding habit is there, they can go and void themselves also, they do not require a bag. For them they will require a CIC, self-catheterization, but they also have a good lifestyle after surgery. So, if you are looking at long term with both the procedures, neobladder and conduit, after say 2 months or so they become so normal, so for them life is very normal. When the patient comes for follow-up, they say that they are very good. The bag is very easy to use, very easy to change, they can take bath, they can go for swimming, they can do all their work, they can travel, nothing changes much. So, long term the prognosis is very good and their quality of life is also very good. If you have further queries about bladder cancer, about its treatment, about the post-operative management or about pre-operative opinions, you can contact me at my clinic. The details are provided below.